We are 2 weeks away from the NFL kicking off. Jahan Dotson traded to the Eagles. Going to discuss some news around the NFL, rip some best ball drafts, trying to win my fourth tournament here. Let's get it, gang. What's going on, everybody? Liam Murphy back to talk some football, talk some fantasy football primarily. That's what we do around here. So let's just, no need to bury the lead here. Let's jump right into it. Jahan Dotson has been traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, let's talk about this. Number one, I personally have not been into Dotson this year. I actually took him for the second time the whole year yesterday on stream. Now, let's talk about why I did that. Let's talk about what the future looks like for Dotson and co. Let's just jump into it. So, Jaden Daniels taken second overall. Jahan Dotson, a previous first-round pick of the Commanders, had a good fantasy football season in best ball land his rookie year, right? He was hit or miss, but he scored a lot of touchdowns, and we like that. And he was cheap. Was terrible last year. Was so bad that in ESPN Analytics, he was literally one of the worst players in football. ESPN Analytics put him around names like Michael Gallup, retired, Robert Woods, done, Sky Moore, Jover before it began, Juju Smith-Schuster, cut, probably retired soon. Tyler Higbee, out for the year with injury. Mike Gesicki, Marcus Valdes-Scantling, Devontae Parker, retired. Van Jefferson, terrible. Jonathan Mingo, Allen Lazard. These were the worst wide receivers analytically in football, according to ESPN last year. So, Jahan Dotson, not good. How I approached that is I did not draft Jahan Dotson for most of the year. What I did do is I drafted Luke McCaffrey a lot and Ben Sinnott a lot. Why? Well, I personally viewed these players as the highest upside players at a cheap cost in the Commander's room. Ben Sinnott is an athletic freak, right? His RAS, raw athletic score, is a 9.72. Being athletic is very important for elite fantasy football production at the tight end position. This guy at 250 pounds ran a 1.62 10-yard split, a 4.68 40, and a very impressive 6.823 cone drill, indicative that he can run, routes. The hope for him is that he is like Sam Laporta, like Dalton Kincaid his rookie year, a fantasy success. Luke McCaffrey was a third-round pick, a surprising third-round pick of the Commanders. I drafted him a lot because I personally thought, I said this many times, that he could overtake Dotson in two wide receiver sets. I also, thought at worst, looking at the depth chart, seeing names like Diami Brown, Olamide Zaccheaus, I thought this guy has to be the wide receiver 3 at minimum. That was what I thought for the majority of the season. Then we get to the preseason. And this is why preseason is so hard, discerning what's real and what's not. Some teams play the players who they're going to play during the season. Other teams showcase players trying to trade them. Other teams don't want to show anything real. They want to keep it very vanilla, very basic, to try to, have a competitive advantage, try to hide guys. They don't want people to know how important a Puka Nacua is to their team or whatever. So, Jahan Dotson in the first preseason game opens up in the slot. Really wasn't a slot guy before. This was surprising, but many read this as a positive. Others, reading the coach speak, thought, Jahan Dotson may get cut or traded. So there, it was a little back and forth. Second preseason game, again, he's playing in 3 wide receiver sets, along with Dyami Brown and Terry McLaurin. Luke McCaffrey wasn't a starter, but looks pretty good if you watch the tape. He was getting open. So how I was viewing that as someone who drafted a lot of Luke McCaffrey, no Jahan Dotson, is I had Jahan Dotson like buried in my ranks, like undraftable. After reading other people's opinions, no shot here, but like Nathan Yankee, who goes through all the snaps of the preseason games, he was pretty high on Dotson. I try to take others' viewpoints who have done this before and weigh them. Okay, I hate Dotson. He's viewed as a positive. What do we do there? Well, we raise him a little bit. We still keep him buried, right? Because I personally don't want him, but other people are reading into it. Luke McCaffrey, I had as a clear target most of the summer, if you look at my rankings. I recently had to capitulate and lower him because I was worried that he was a 0, and drafting a 0 is bad. Now, I always knew at minimum I had the out that Luke McCaffrey could earn his way into 2 or 3 wide receiver sets by the end of the year, right? We saw a 3rd-round pick like Tank Dell be a smash. Is that likely? No, but you don't need to be Tank Dell to be a good best ball pick. You can be rookie year Jahan Dotson. I knew McCaffrey wasn't, could be a 0. Wasn't sure what to do with Dotson. Dyami Brown has really never been a high target earning player. What he is, though, is he's a deep threat. And what we think about Jaden Daniels is we want deep threats attached to Jaden Daniels. So whatever, Jahan Dotson gets traded today to the Eagles. And I've read some hardcore coping on this. This overwhelmingly likely is a huge negative for Jahan Dotson. Theoretically, Jahan Dotson could have been the 2nd highest target earner on the Commanders behind Terry McLaurin. That was his ceiling. 2nd target earner on the Commanders, also a deep threat. Jaden Daniels can hit the deep threat. That can give you some spike weeks in best ball. In managed, he was never a target, but in best ball, we're talking. The Commanders traded him to a division rival. That's not good. They traded a former 1st-round pick for compensation that includes a 3rd-round pick and 2 7th-round picks, and they had to throw a 5th-round pick in the trade. So effectively, they wanted this guy off their roster. They wanted him out of there. They said, 3rd-round pick, bet, give me it. Keep in mind, they have a rookie quarterback they took 2nd in the draft. Their number 1 priority is developing Jaden Daniels and having good weapons around him and, keeping him upright. That's the number 1 priority of this organization. They looked at a room with Terry McLaurin, Dyami Brown, Jahan Dotson, Luke McCaffrey, Olamide Zaccheaus, and they said, you know what? Jahan Dotson has no place in this room right now. There is 0% you can spin this as a positive. 0%. And people have tried. What they have tried to say is Jalen Hurts is an MVP candidate. The Eagles are good. I'm not disputing any of this. Number 1, I personally think it wouldn't be that surprising for Jaden Daniels to throw for more yards than Jalen Hurts. Maybe not his rookie year, but sometime soon, right? He was a better prospect. Number 2, here is the hope for Jahan Dotson. You are hoping he is the 3rd wide receiver of the Eagles. Is he guaranteed to be that? No. They gave up a 3rd-round pick. So clearly, they think they can develop this guy, right? But they got a 5th-round pick. So basically, they traded a 4th-round pick for Jahan Dotson. And they're hoping they can develop him. Maybe they don't even think that can happen this year. It's still conceivable a guy like Johnny Wilson, a rookie pick from them this year, plays ahead of him, right? So you are hoping he's the wide receiver 3 at best. It is a huge negative to be competing for targets with A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, Saquon, Will Shipley. Like, you are at best 4th in the target order there. if everything goes well for Dotson, he is the third wide receiver for the Eagles, and I would say he gives you 2 to 3 spike weeks, just like a Quez Watkins has done in the past for the Eagles, right? He can be a deep threat. Chat's cracking me up, saying I look presidential. That's what you're hoping for, right? So don't get me wrong. If you have some Jahan Dotson, if you draft a lot of him, I mean, number one, you need to subscribe to my channel and probably go get my rankings over at beatbestball.com because you could have foreseen this. This was a foreseeable issue. But yeah, are there outs for him to give you some spike weeks? Sure. Does he have contingent upside if AJ Brown rolls his ankle? Sure. Possibly Dotson could play the slot for Philadelphia. What they also could do is they could put Jahan Dotson as the sacrificial X wide receiver. This is a pretty hot, talking point in podcasts now where you run a wide receiver who basically's sole job is to run deep, take the corner, and take the safety. And that would allow you to put AJ Brown in the slot, Devonta Smith in the slot, where Kellen Moore, the Eagles' new offensive coordinator, previously with the Cowboys and Chargers, historically has fed a slot wide receiver. So you can get AJ Brown in the slot. You can get Devonta Smith in that Keenan Allen, CeeDee Lamb type role. So that's how I'm viewing it. Ben Sinnott going back up in the ranks. Going to update the ranks tomorrow morning or tonight. Ben Sinnott going back up in the ranks. Zach Ertz is probably going to play over Ben Sinnott to start the year. Sinnott, whatever, right? That's probably going to happen. But Zach Ertz is done, in my belief, right? He's just done. I'm not afraid of him. The Commanders are pretty likely to play some 2 wide receiver sets or 2 tight end sets, forgive me, where Ertz and Sinnott are on the field. And if that's the case, Sinnott, like Ertz is probably the one who probably chip blocks and then goes out for a little out route, kind of like Dawson Knox of the Bills. Sinnott is the guy who could run a downfield route because he's not 35. Luke McCaffrey is also going to go back up in my ranks. And Diami Brown is now a defensible pick in best ball land. I personally am not going to bet on Diami Brown, who was on my winning Best Ball Mania 2 team, by the way, as a 0. I'm not going to be going all in on Diami Brown. I prefer him on Jaden Daniels stacks, right? Is it possible he's just the wide receiver too? Sure. Do I think Luke McCaffrey could probably beat him out? Yes, I do think that. Terry McLaurin, already league winning potential was there for him. But your hope for Terry McLaurin, and a lot have said this, is that he is the Michael Pittman of the Commanders, where he is the RPO number 1 read, getting 12 targets a game type of guy. He's also more of a deep threat than Pittman. So I think Terry McLaurin, you can move a little bit up in the ranks as well, which I will, right? Like I was already into Terry. I think we all should have had some Terry as, just the number 1 weapon of the Commanders. But I think you can put him up even a little bit higher because this is further positive signal for Terry, in my opinion. I'm not going to move Eckler up. I'm not going to move Brian Robinson up. Possibly Eckler gets some more screen work now, But yeah, I mean, definitely a situation to monitor. I'll be monitoring the practice reports of the Commanders. Reported today, Luke McCaffrey was the first one up as the 3rd wide receiver. That presumably means Diami Brown was the 2nd and Luke was the 3rd. So maybe Luke is strictly slot. Diami Brown's the low targeted guy, deep A-dot role, which has value if true. I'm not going to Diami Brown doesn't have any business being a 15th round pick. He should still be 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th round pick, right? I won't be chasing him way up the boards. That's my opinion there. Some have also thought that possibly this means the Commanders are trading for Brandon Ayuk because they got more draft capital here. I don't think that's that likely. I don't think that's that likely at all because I don't think Ayuk's going to be traded, and I don't see why the 49ers would want picks instead of players when they are a Super Bowl team this year. It's probably just that the Commanders wanted Dotson out of there. So that is the state of the union on the Jahan Dotson trade. If you missed it, for anyone who's playing DraftKings best ball, I advanced 51 of my 150 teams, a 34% advance rate last year. It's a free article on beatbestball.com where I just posted the 51 teams for you to look through. It's kind of helpful just to see playoff teams from the past, especially if you're new. I had to manually scrape those because DraftKings does like Underdog. I can go into the app and find my old drafts and I can look at them at any time. And so can you if you've been on the app. You can't do that for DraftKings. You have to scrape it. Another thing I would warn you about if you're doing DraftKings best ball is last year what occurred is you could see your player exposure in the app, but once the season started, that went away. So you may want to screenshot your player exposure in the app because who knows if you're going to does it make sense that it goes away? No, but that's what they did. So will it go away again this year? I would presume yes, right? All right. Let's jump into a draft. Let's try to win Best Ball Mania again and see how people are reacting to this trade. I'm already in there. We need a couple more. Won't be doing too many more Best Ball Manias as I don't have that many left. I don't have that many drafters left either. I only have 5 drafters left. I only have, got the 101. Let's go. I only have, let's see. This is my 129th BBM5. So I got 21 left there. And I got well over 125 DraftKings drafts remaining. So going to be streaming some DraftKings more. Going to be keeping up the high stakes managed. Let's check in on my exposure of 101 players, which for me is Lamb or Christian McCaffrey. Lamb, I have 8% of. McCaffrey, Christian, that is, I have 4% of. So clearly, I'm just running below expectation of the first and second round picks. If I was at expectation, I would have 8% of both players. So I'm running 4% below 101s and 102s, assuming that I took them at 101 or 102 in every pick. So I got to choose. Do I want to up the CMC a little bit, or are we just going to do Lamb again? They both have their merits. I love both their playoff schedules and Week 17 matchups. Let's go with let's do a CMC team though today. He's not even practicing. Screw it. He's not practicing. We're doing CeeDee Lamb. He's like at practice doing things off to the side. If you guys like these drafts, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. I'm on the road to 6K subscribers. And another thing to do is make sure you join my Discord. That is linked below. It used to be on Twitter. You could share a link and people would see it, but links are buried when you share on Twitter. So make sure you join the Discord to get notified when I go live. I'm on the road to 100K. Hey, you gotta reach 6K before you get to 100K. CD isn't practicing? Yeah, but not practicing because of a contract versus not practicing because of injury. I definitely prefer not practicing because of contract, all else equal. Went to the gym yesterday, went for a run today. Man, I am out of shape. If you're young, stay in shape. I'll be 32 in October. But feels good. Feels good. It was not deadly hot in the Florida heat, so felt good to be able to run. Didn't run long. This guy says Luke McCaffrey is a 0. Yeah, and I meant to mention that. Is it possible Luke McCaffrey is still a 0? Absolutely, that's still possible. That is 100% possible, right? However, it feels way less likely he's a 0, right? Like I have a lot of Luke McCaffrey. Just because I thought he was not a 0, fits an upside bill. And I was looking at a lot of early teams, and I was like, man, I really hope Luke McCaffrey's not a 0. But when the presumed wide receiver 2 of the team gets traded away, oh boy, Luke McCaffrey, we are back. We are back, Luke McCaffrey drafters. Even if he's a 0, the process was good in my opinion. Because the process of drafting Luke McCaffrey was 3rd round pick, Jahan Dotson sucks. Both those things are true. Jahan Dotson traded away sucks, right? So we were right on that one. Luke McCaffrey already seeing work as wide receiver 3 in practices. Okay, we're running good on that one too. Just got to see it in the games now. And again, let's look at this Commander's depth chart. Terry McLaurin, Diami Brown, Luke McCaffrey. I mean, the ESPN site's listing him as the 3 now. That's pretty good signal. Olamide Zacchaeus, Jamison Crowder, Byron Pringle, Martavius Bryant. Interesting, actually. And then a bunch of creative characters, right? Jamison Crowder is old and slot only. Olamide, never been anything. Byron Pringle and Martavius Bryant have had flashes in the past, but like, come on, give me a break. I think overwhelmingly, it's likely that the Commanders obviously like Luke McCaffrey. They took him in the 3rd round, which again was surprising to many analysts. Let's get our pick here. Brandon Ayuk and DJ Moore. I love it. I moved DJ Moore up my ranks. I just want to get pieces of the Bears. This trio is awesome where literally these 3 wide receivers, especially Ayuk and Moore, are downfield threats. Lamb is as well. Lamb's a do-it-all. But like this trio right here, this could be like 100 half-point PPR points in a week. 6 start. Love it. When you plan on doing your next drafter stream, may rip one here. Again, I only have 5 drafters left. I love when your signal always fades because you pull up another page on your 2001. Dude, Chuck, I know. I can feel it, and that's why I had to close the... What it is my laptop doesn't deal well with... It doesn't deal well with, like, ads on sites. And, like, when you open ESPN, your you get bombarded by ads. Should I buy a desktop? Yeah, probably. But this is like a gaming laptop to stream on. If Dotson sucks, why did the Eagles trade a 3rd for him? Geoff, there's a couple things there. Number one, Jahan Dotson had his best game in the NFL against the Eagles. And it's just like a fact now that when that occurs, teams still view you highly. So they think they can get the best out of him. Number 2, they probably had a high pre-draft grade on him. Number 3, they're probably not in love with their wide receiver depth. So they think they can develop him. Maybe they're right. The Eagles are a sharp organization. So I would definitely say, like, if you have a lot of Dotson, that's your copium. You're hoping that he can get developed on the Eagles. It's just not likely. Grant, thanks for the super chat. He said, I sent you a draft. Wonder if I could get some feedback. Going to run another one tonight. Yeah, let's address Grant here and anyone here who DMs me because I get these a lot. A lot of people send me their drafts in my Twitter DMs asking me for feedback. Um, guys, I do not have the time, nor do I want to personally send feedback to everyone who DMs me, right? Now, Grant super chatted me, so we're going to pull it up on stream. And that's how you can get feedback on your teams. So we can make content of this, right? So let's find the team, Grant. Also, in the 555, like I draft in there. So no offense, I want to win the contest. I don't want to help you win the contest. So Grant, let's look at your team here. Grant, we got to work on the screenshot, brother. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. Okay, here we go. You went CMC, Neighbors, Waddle. Okay, so RB, 2 wide receiver darts seems good. A shot in elite tight end seems good. Cooper, good value there. Deontay and Rome. So good wide receiver room. You went Caleb to pair with Rome. I like that. Ferguson at a good value. I like it. Purdy to at a good value to pair with CMC. Seems good. It's pretty rare to get quarterbacks past their picks. Brian Robinson, Charbonnet, Algier. All running backs I think are good to take shots on. Watson to pair with Amari Cooper. Look, the vibes around Deshaun Watson are bad. He's not throwing in camp, but I pair him with Cooper too. Ray Davis I like. Yoshi Voss, Roshan, Whittington, Prince, and CH. Don't love the Prince and CH combo, particularly because it could just be Carson Steele. Like I do that double tap with something like Elijah Mitchell and Jordan Mason I like more because it seems unlikely it's Isaac Rendo. Let's make our picks here. Let's get Terry. Let's get Terry before the market reacts. We got a lot of Kincaid. Let's do Terry and Worthy this time. Worthy, a guy who's climbing up drafts. I have quite a bit of Worthy from like when he was in the 6th, but not a big difference there. You know, he's a deep threat. Only really need him to have a big game week 17 to pay off at cost. And I have 4 veterans. But yeah, the Prince at CH, don't love that because you're potentially taking 2 zeros, but like whatever. You're strong enough elsewhere that you can afford the 0. So good team, Grant. Appreciate the super chat. How do I share DK draft? They used to have a little camera button, Grant, in the upper right hand corner, but they did away with it. So the way you did it is fine. Like how I do it is I do Windows key Shift S. If you have a Mac, similar buttons, but different, Windows key Shift S. And what that allows you to do is to screenshot cleanly. You can just like drag your cursor and it will copy what you screenshot. And it just makes it a little bit cleaner versus like taking a picture of your screen. Did this right before Carson Steele? Yeah. No, I mean, before we knew about Carson Steele, I think it's defensible, right? Like I've done that with I always think at the end of drafts, it's okay to like earlier in the season, I did a couple Braylon Allen and Izzy Abanikanda drafts, which if I could trade Izzy Abanikanda for Isaiah Davis, I would do it. But, you know, it's a similar theory. I think it's always okay to do that. Hands with some good cope here. He says, I like the fact that the Eagles and Commanders are a week 16 stack. So all my JD Hurts teams with him are firmly intact, provided he is in a 0. There you go, Hands. That's a positive. Yeah, I agree with Brian here. If Dotson's a 0, it's fine, right? If Dotson's a 0, they got no, I think the Commanders got the 7s, by the way. Not they got a 5th round pick though, which is okay, whatever. You went from a 3rd to a 5th. Not the biggest of difference. Next high stakes managed stream, pretty soon rolling. I don't have hardcore dates for that, but at a minimum, I'll have one with my friend Tolan, where we won our league last year. Tolan got 5th in drafters. We went to college together, grew up in New Hampshire too. And then I need to find out if the one with if Davis and I are ripping one. I have 2 naked Daniels lineups now. Yeah, and that's okay, right? Like I drafted Dotson even though I didn't like him. Like it's okay to draft some guys you don't like. You should do that on occasion as a hedge. And I drafted Dotson yesterday at pick 152, who I don't like. And by the way, I think Dotson's undraftable now. I mean, he's draftable in the same sense that Mac Hollins is draftable. Could these guys give you some weeks? Sure. But I wouldn't I'm not trying to target wide receiver 3 on the Eagles. Worthy over Amari? Don't we think Amari is practically locked for 1K yards? How many rookies wide receivers have broke 1K? Let's talk about that in a second here. Let's go Montgomery. Man, I'm not really a big Montgomery guy at all. Like at all. Let's do Alvin Kamara. Let's get old man Kamara here too. Kamara was good in fantasy football last year. Will he be again? To be determined. So the guy asking about Amari Cooper. First of all, you have to realize that I'm not drafting one fantasy football team. This is not me doing my only home league, right? This is me trying to build a portfolio of 150 teams to win Best Ball Mania. So do I always go Worthy over Amari Cooper? No, I don't. Right? I would take Amari Cooper sometimes. Why is Amari Cooper dropping in drafts? Because Deshaun Watson's not practicing due to his shoulder. Not that that's meaningful, but I think Jameis could support him as well. Number 2, I don't really care what rookies in the past have done. Xavier Worthy was the fastest drafted player in NFL history, and I think he's a legit good wide receiver. He's not John Ross, in my opinion. And if Amari Cooper scores 50 more fantasy points on the year, but Worthy scores 15 more points than Amari Cooper, week 17, guess who's the better pick? Xavier Worthy is. He's far more likely to win you money if he outscores Amari Cooper by that many points week 17. So best ball is not your home league. You can't just view it as, oh, what can this guy give me over the course of the season? That's not the game we're playing. It's just not. And I don't dislike Amari Cooper, but he's not so head and tears above Xavier Worthy, who, by the way, he is climbing in drafts. He's going in the 4th round often. People are excited there. And it's not impossible that Worthy is the number 1 target in Kansas City, right? That's not impossible. One, Rashee Rice, only a 2nd-year player who I like, but 2nd-year player, kind of like a shorter A-dot yak guy. So if Worthy catches a 60-yard bomb, Rice doesn't touch the ball. Number 2, Travis Kelce's old. Number 3, Hollywood Brown was bad last year and hurt, You got Luke McCaffrey ahead of Tolbert now. I'm going to update my ranks, but no, I don't think I'd go that far. Yeah, the Deshaun Watson vibes are bad. He says Deshaun Watson was complaining of a dead arm last year also. At this point, safe to assume he got structural damage that has not been addressed. Jason says he's back at practice. I mean, here's the deal. I still draft Deshaun Watson as like an upside swing on Brown stacks, but the vibes are bad for many, many reasons. We don't love that 2 weeks the season starts in 2 weeks. We don't love that with the season starting in 2 weeks, the coach is benching him, not letting him practice because he's worried about his arm. They can say whatever they want about that. That's not a positive. Is he maybe fine? Yeah, he's maybe fine, but it's not good. I don't worry as much about Amari Cooper because if um if Watson sucks, like Jameis can give us fantasy goodness. So you have outs there drafting the pass catchers. Great question here, Felix. Why is wide receiver 3 for the Eagles undraftable versus wide receiver 3 of the Texans a round 3 must draft guy? First off, I mean, Tank Dell goes at the back end of the third, so third is a little disingenuous, but whatever. I mean, so many reasons. One, Tank Dell is a far better football player than Jahan Dotson. Like, they're not even in the same stratosphere. Tank Dell legitimately is probably a top 10 wide receiver in football. So we don't know that Tank Dell is the 3, for sure. It could be Diggs. It could be Nico. Tank Dell straight up outscored Nico in games they played together. Just barely. Number 2, we think CJ Stroud can throw for 5,000 yards. I do not think Jalen Hurts can throw for 3,000 yards. Number 3, we've seen the Texans support multiple wide receivers. We saw a guy like Noah Brown pop up for big weeks last year. We have not seen an Eagles third wide receiver be fantasy relevant. Julio Jones couldn't do it. Olamide Zaccheaus couldn't do it. Quez Watkins couldn't do it. Right? So is it possible some of this changes with Kellen Moore there? It could. It's not likely though. Right? Let's go Dak, of course. And let's go Jaden. Ooh. Or do we go Caleb? Caleb has a week 7 bye. Honestly, if I could just grab all 3 of these guys, I would do it. It's also the end of the wideouts. All right, let's do Dak for sure. And despite me loving, I like Caleb more than Jaden, all else equal, but we have to do Jaden. I mean, we don't have to take a quarterback, of course, but it's kind of nice to be done with it. And the week 7 bye is enough to be the difference maker there for me. I said I don't think Hurts can throw for 5,000 yards. Did I say 3,000? I meant 5,000. I didn't mean to, I'm not trying to hyperbole Jalen Hurts. I like Hurts, but he's not the passer that CJ Stroud is, right? We like Hurts because he has fantasy relevance on the ground. So it's just a false equivalence to say, why is one team's wide receiver 3 not as valuable, right? We expect the Texans to lead the league in 3 wide receiver sets. The contingent upside for Tank Dell, if he is only the wide receiver 3, is massive compared for Jahan Dotson because, again, Tank Dell is good at football and Jahan Dotson probably isn't. So even if A.J. Brown goes down, it doesn't mean that Jahan Dotson can have good games, right? Where I know Tank Dell can. He did it last year as a rookie. So many reasons, right? Same thing with the 49ers players. Same thing with the Bears wideouts, right? That site would be RT Sports, Tyler. Go back and watch my stream. I got a link in there for a $100 deposit match. Dotson isn't that bad. I mean, look, if you're looking at the box scores, sure, Jahan Dotson isn't that bad to you. But I'm telling you, he is like, no offense, but the box scores don't tell the full picture. And I'm assuming the person that asked the Tank Dell versus Jahan Dotson question is, again, simply coping about Dotson, which there's a lot of that going on. Guys, it's okay to make bad picks in fantasy football. We all do it, right? I still think Paris Campbell can start and end the season. Yeah, I mean, I think the Paris Campbell experience is over, but it's possible. I have literally never made a bad pick. Chuck, I mean, many people, whether it be their ego or whatever, basically view that, right? Like, it's not, no, I wasn't wrong for drafting Dotson. The Commanders are wrong for trading him. You know, come on now. Yeah, just go ahead and draft him if you think I'm wrong. Again, I think he's like okay to take at a very low percentage, 2%, 3% on Jalen Hurts stacks only now. What are expectations for the Bills this year? Playoff team, Super Bowl contender, good in fantasy football. Same expectations every single year when Josh Allen is your quarterback. Streaming daily? Yep, we'll be streaming daily till the season starts for sure. Zach Evans over Kyron Birdme. I wasn't wrong. He got hurt. Caleb, man. Caleb 117. So tight end is over. Honestly, yeah, let's do these wideouts here. I could do Brandon Cooks too, but I don't want to do that every time. Damn. I was just about to move Shaheed because I was like, I'll take a running back actually. But I wanted to have Myers for sure. Jacoby plays, of course, Kamara week 17. Whatever. We'll take Myers too. Brandon Cooks was obviously fine, but not needed. I was planning to trade the Shaheed pick for running back, but it's fine. We're obviously done at quarterback. We have 7 more picks to play with. At a minimum, 2 are tight ends. At a minimum, 4 are probably running backs. So that gives us a 2, 6, 7, 2. And then we can either do a third tight end, a third wide receiver. Really depends. We would like to get one of the commander guys. A big benefit of drafting a guy like De'Ami Brown, that's not unique to De'Ami Brown, but just, in case anyone is wondering. Big reason to draft a guy like that is because in Best Ball Mania 5 specifically, the contest is over 80% filled. De'Ami Brown is nearly at a 0% draft rate. So it just gives you leverage. How are we feeling about the Sonat bags? We're feeling awesome about the Sonat bags. I've remained convinced on Sonat, even with his preseason not being super high. Could he be a 0? Yeah, but he's an upside. player. I bought it to stream, Al. When do you think BBM5 will fill? Near Labor Day. Creamy is my guess. Purely vibe guess. Playing Washington mainly through its running backs. That's a defensible way to play it, Nathan. We got Nostradamus here, guys. Thanks, Chuck. Thoughts on going RB to start your home league? I think you can always go RB, Gavin, until the end of time to start your home league. Really depends who you're drafting with, but like some people start freaking out when they don't have running backs. So, and like until the end of time, ESPN ADP is going to be terrible. It's going to have guys like Roma Dunze and Xavier Worthy probably as like, I don't know, 10th round picks. Grant saying, become a YouTube member like Grant. He says it's interesting hearing people having ego in best ball versus poker because you can see results immediately from your missed process in poker, but you have to wait a whole season to see in best ball. I mean, I'd say a couple things there. One, there's many people that have ego in poker and are not capable of evaluating their play. It's pretty easy in poker for a bad player to just think they got unlucky, right? Number two, fantasy football is a little bit ego driven, right? Like it all starts with our home league telling our friends that they're idiots for taking Dwayne Bowe in the first round, like my home league friends did, you know? Like that is a core part of fantasy football. The other thing is many people don't view playing best ball as gambling because they view it as playing fantasy football, which again, fantasy football like is inherently random, so it doesn't really make them view the process or whatever. They can just chalk it up to randomness. Number three, of course, is the fact that best ball is only raked once a year, and not many to no one is playing best ball professionally. So it's many people just it's entertainment budget. There's many people that have dreams of winning, but they understand that that's unlikely. And again, it's a once a year time period thing, so it's just different. I'd rather have Downey Brown around 18 than Dotson. Me too, Adam. Dwayne Bowe was one of the 10 players you should have let your idiot league mates draft. Oh my God. Change up. No. Change up. Do we think Change Up thinks he sniped me on Jahan Dotson because I have Daniels? Oh, Change Up. You gotta find the channel, man. It's over for you before it began. Yeah, Jalen Wright and Ray Davis, two rookies I'm high on. Neither are confirmed or guaranteed any playing time week one. Both are high upside picks. It's not impossible that a guy like Ty Johnson is annoying for Ray Davis. Jalen Wright might require an injury to see the field, but massive upside if he does. So I like it. Yeah, dude. Change up. Imagine having like a friends and a family that you pay attention to and like a job or something, instead of being online and reading the second that Jahan Dotson's traded. Couldn't be me change up. How good do you think is Luke McCaffrey now? I think the case is kind of the same. He's an upside pick. He's a third round rookie. Possible he's still a zero, you know? But there gets a point in drafts where like could Luke McCaffrey score more fantasy points than Ricky Pearsall? Yes, he could. Could he score more points than Greg Dortch? Yes, he could. Could he score more than Jalen McMillan? Yes, he could. Quentin Johnston? Yes. Malachi Corley? Yes. Demarcus Robinson? Yes. Jermaine Burton? Yes. Bateman? Yes. Whittington? Yes. So, it's a little bit arbitrary where you rank him. I think Wandale and DeMario are less likely to be zeros, but also less likely to be as high upside as Luke McCaffrey if he does become the second target of the offense. So, you're weighing those different things. Probably will slot in around this range for me. Hans says he has some of those things, referring to friends and family. Good for you, Hans. Is Josh Wiley still draftable? Yeah, but understand the bet you're making there. The bet you're making there is an extremely thin bet, more likely to be a zero. A hit for him is kind of like falling in the end zone twice a game. Are you drafting a potential league winner? No, you aren't. Josh Wiley is a tight end on the Titans who plausibly could overtake Chigakonkwa. If Deshaun Watson misses time and Jameis has to play, is it a boost for Njoku and Amari? I mean, maybe, Johnny, right? Like, we've seen Jameis help fantasy success, but the team could also pivot a little bit more run heavy, although they have Ken Dorsey, who's been pass happy as an OC. And I mean, like, I think the highest ceiling outcome is just Deshaun Watson returns to form. There's no Ray Davis news. Joe Buscaglia, Bills beat reporter, gave the opinion that Ty Johnson isn't going away or isn't, could be part of the rotation, which has been the case from the jump. So kind of wish I could trade the Shaheed pick for running back, but whatever. We got a weird stacked game where we got pieces of Saints and Raiders, which I'm sure many people are not targeting that game. Let's grab Sanat here and K. Dotton. And I don't know, like, could I stop at 2 tight end with that group? I could. It's a bit thin because we're not sure if Sanat is helping us from the jump. Like, Sanat is a mega high upside play, but he could be a zero. At the same time, if you took Sam Laporta last year, Sam Laporta drafters were more likely to go 3 tight end because they didn't think he was going to be quite the breakout. But the better Sam Laporta teams were 2 tight end teams with him. So if Sanat is that level of breakout, which isn't likely, right? He'll play in an offense with less pass volume as well than Laporta. Oh, we're getting there, sound session. We're going to try to get some long form managed videos. We'll stoop that low. If that's what it takes to grow, we got to try to grow out here. We can't just be doing 2-hour streams. Maybe it's more of a next year thing for me, but I'd like to at least get like 2 or 3. Chuck's going to be sharing some wisdom with me. Why would I block you, Chuck? That's in your control. Scorpion wants to talk about some Sal Vetri drama. I don't know if this is the place for it, Scorpion. No, Grant. No. I don't like Chigakonkwo, but he could be the receiving tight end. Things are looking better for Quentin Johnston, mainly because DJ Chark is injured. And I do think that the Chargers are going to try to give him opportunities. Can you imagine if this chat eventually turned into what Ron's was? Yeah, Ron has a much bigger channel, so he has a lot more casual fantasy football people. If Ayuk gets traded to the Commanders, where does his ADP go? I mean, I don't think that's happening, but if it does, I think Terry falls in drafts. I think Ayuk stays in the third round, and we can kiss most of this like Luke McCaffrey stuff goodbye. So if you want to wait a couple days for that, not impossible also that players are traded at the trade deadline. Oh, I definitely got the clickbait opportunities. Don't think Sam Darnold's a good pick, especially unstacked. Yes, he wasn't drafted at a high percentage, but he's not likely to be playing weeks 15 through 17. Or I should, I guess he is likely, but he's also a bench risk candidate, a strong bench risk candidate. I don't care if Schefter says that, which I don't know if he did or not. I think those type of people are trying to talk about content because there's not a lot to talk about. How many BBMs left? This is my 129th. Slowly getting spooked by Chase day by day. I am not. Is it ideal that Chase and Lamb aren't practicing? No, but like they're going to. Let's grab Kamani Vidal, who is totally back. And we'll grab Will Shipley too. So not the best running back room on paper. We're done at running back. David Montgomery, Alvin Kamara. Okay, so we got our two starters, right? We got two good to okay starters. And then we got four upside rookies who all could be zeros, all could be hits. Kamani Vidal, I raised in my ranks after we saw him in the preseason game and he played well because the thesis of J.K. Dobbins will probably fade hasn't changed. Vidal's back. He's back to me. Could Vidal be cut and not make the team? Yes. But he's back in the sense that I'm going to mix him in. And this team needs some running backs to emerge. So Wright, Ray, Kamani, Shipley, four upside swings. How does it go bad? Well, Gainwell over Shipley would be bad. Kimani doesn't make the team would be bad. Ty Johnson over Ray Davis would be bad. Jalen Wright doesn't play all year would be bad. Okay, we don't win then. Oh, I'm still on the Gus bus, but I just think Kimani can eventually be that too. Luke McCaffrey goes pick 203. Obviously, we could have considered him here. The problem with this team is the Rashid Shaheed auto pick because it's fine. I like Rashid Shaheed. He has high single week upside. But this team kind of needs a third tight end. It also kind of would like a Diami Brown. Running back also could use a bullet, I did this to myself when I spent 2 picks on QB. That's fine. I think we're going to just take Diami Brown. Why not? He didn't qualify for ESPN Analytics, but, he's a guy who I want like 1 or 2 teams of. Seems like a good time to do it. And we just kind of pray that the Sanat-Otten combo is good enough. I mean, I won BBM with Noah Fant and Mike Gesicki, so. If Otten can be like 6 half-point PPR points most weeks, and Sanat does come on, we're good enough. It's a little bit thinner than I like to build. And if we get sniped on Diami Brown, probably okay, which we did. All right, we don't have to worry about that anymore. So we could take a running back now or tight end. Again, I think there's merit to both because I'm weak at running back and tight end, theoretically strong at QB and wideout. I'm really debating what to do. Pierre Strong went to the hospital, got out of the hospital. Okay. Come on down, Steel Coast Cowboy, whatever that's called. We're going thin at tight end on that one. Most of my teams I built pretty strong through tight end, so whatever. We're hoping to land a league-winning running back with one of our many darts. So that team is Dak and Jaden Daniels, David Montgomery, Alvin Kamara, Jalen Wright, Ray Davis, Kamani Vidal, Will Shipley, Carson Steele. Who, by the way, Saquon was banged up, so I think Gainwell's still running as the 2s, but Shipley should have a role. CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Ayuk, DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, Xavier Worthy, Rashid Shaheed, and Jacoby Myers, Ben Sinnott, and Cade Otton. Week 17 correlation. We've got Ayuk and David Montgomery. We have Alvin Myers and Rashid Shaheed. We just have the Jaden Daniels stack. No Atlanta. We've got some Chiefs players. No Steelers. So that's about it. You ever draft Gainwell? No. Should I? Probably. But I've just kind of decided to choose Shipley when I go there. Um, Let me grab some water, folks, and I'll be right back. Just got to do something real quick. Okay, grabbing water. Be right back. Yeah, I think Shipley Gainwell is a defensible combo to end drafts with. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're doing a drafters. If you're not up and running on Underdog, you can use promo code Cheslium. If you're not up and running on Drafters, you can use promo code Cheslium. Drafters is total points weeks 1 through 17. They are only at 87,000 entrants out of 187,000. Estimated fill rate around 70%. The prize pool is guaranteed. So you are simply drafting with, you're drafting for a fully guaranteed prize pool. And the contest probably won't fill. So that takes care of your rake. It's called overlay. I haven't heard of Checkers Liam. I saw him. Has anyone seen Checkers Liam in their underdog drafts? He was in some of the drafts last year. I'm ashamed to say that he outscored me. He advanced over me in a draft, but I haven't seen him this year. Taken any Akers? I haven't taken any Cam Akers yet, but he is a fine pick. I personally kind of just want to wait for that information to play out, right? Like, I think it's pretty likely either Damian Pierce is getting cut, who I buried in my ranks, or something there. And we're going to have clarity there soon, but, and like, how high can Cam Akers go? But Cam Akers is a defensible late round pick. How did it feel watching the games in week 17 when you won BBM2? I was at my cousin's bachelor party and so that was awesome. I was with all my hometown friends. We watched the morning games. I was winning the puppy, which I also had a team in the puppy finals off of like 5 entrants. I was winning the puppy and I was like, I don't know, top 20 in BBM. Jamar Chase went off. Josh Allen scored some rushing touchdowns. Damian Harris had a fine game. Tyler Boyd had an okay game. And then the afternoon games happened and we went to a bar. So again, around a bachelor party, we went to a bar. We were down in Key West. And we it started to feel very real once Rashad Penny round. We're just trading blows back and forth. I was like, holy shit, I'm like winning here. And then Noah Fant caught some garbage time touchdowns from Drew Lock. So it was pretty crazy. You can't hear anything? I don't think I'm muted. Is this anyone else's experience? We sweating the late games? After the afternoon games, it was like pretty clear I was going to win, in my opinion. A lot of people had Devontae Adams, so I wanted him to not go nuclear. He didn't. And then I wanted to a lot of people had Nick Chubb, and so I wanted him to like not score 50 half point PPR points, and he didn't. And I did have players like I had Chase Claypool in the Monday night game because it was Steelers Browns. Star Kindler, yeah, I remember that. You had 3 teams in the finals that year. Only takes one though, Star. Only takes one. The final size was only 160 people that year. And so there were multiple people with 3 or so finals teams because Cooper Kupp and Mark Andrews were the guys on like everyone's team. And so people who drafted a lot of them and Debo, they had a good shot at getting a lot of finals teams. Let's do a giveaway for drafters. If you have your drafters username, start posting it in the chat now. We're choosing a winner. You win a free ticket if you're chosen. I'm just going to highlight the name like this. 20 seconds. Start posting it. We're highlighting the first name there. Shout out drafters for giving away free tickets. Three, two, one. Let's close that out. And it is King Subtract. Congratulations, Jacob. I am messaging your name over to them right now. King Subtract. King Subtract. All right. If you misspelled it, you don't get the ticket. I spelled it how you spelled it. Sorry, get out of here. Sorry, this is a Wendy's. Oh my god. Couple things about drafters. One, gonna overlay. We talked about that. 2, if you haven't read it, read this article. It's free if you sign up. It's about wow. We may have the only Lamb Drake London start in all of drafters. That is incredibly unique. Why did we get that? I don't like Drake London. I don't draft him a lot. I see the case from smashing, so really like to get him through some unique ADP. We got Lamb falling due to nonsense. People took Kyron. People took Achan. People took JT. A guy took Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams. You get Drake London to fall. Yeah. Sign up on Drafters. Promo code Chesley. Chase the overlay. Wow. I love Brandon Ayuk, but again, I think I'm going to take Chris Olave just because of ADP. Because what's going on with Zay Flowers ADP on Drafters? Casuals have overtaken this, so most of my early teams are probably dead because I'm sure some super teams are getting built now. But a Lamb, London, Olave start is incredibly unique. The thing about London and Olave is they're similar bets in the sense that you're betting on wide receivers who are young, who should be high target shares. We like Drake London better because Kirk Cousins we like better than Derek Carr, but they're not too dissimilar bets. Nope, Andrew, it's not how it works. It's not how it works. We're fair here. Thoughts on the late round Diami Brown? Michael, you're going to need to just watch the first half of the stream. We're not going back to Diami Brown. He's fine, in summary. You do not need to do anything to get your ticket. Drafters will deposit the ticket for you. Also, if you sign up with beatbestball.com, it's $99 for the year, $40 for the month, but the year deal is a lot better than the monthly price. You get a free ticket to Drafters. Anyone who recently signed up, I'm sending your email over after this stream. So I send those over once a week and they deposit tickets. So it's basically a $15 rake back. And this site is going to overlay 70%. And they give out free tickets. So you can get like, I don't know, 5 to 10 free tickets if you really grind it. Devin is clearly on delay significantly. Sorry, brother. John says total points contest feels so disheartening because with playoff pods, you don't have to have the best team to win. But here it's like if the room doesn't give you multiple gifts, you have no shot. Yeah, I don't know, John. I don't know. Like the gifts are not required. I mean, obviously, if Lamb, London, Olave are the top 3 scoring players in fantasy, okay, it was required. But oftentimes that's not the case, right? Like you can look at the article and see past scoring teams, which I posted here, but like this guy had a Amon-Ra, Devontae, Debo start with Brees Hall. That was very common. You could do that for a large portion of the season. Tolan had an A.J. Brown, C.D. Lamb, Ramondre, DJ Moore start. Very common. You could do that for the bulk of the season. So people aren't winning because they have A.J. Brown and C.D. Lamb and Tyreek Hill on the team. Like, that's not what's happening. Do you need to land the league winners? Yes, you do. Right? Last year, you weren't winning if you didn't have Puka Nacua or Kyron or C.D. Lamb or Sam Laporta or Trey McBride or Achane or Mostert or Dak. Like, it's just a different game, you know? I kind of prefer playoff pods better too, but I am excited for my drafters teams. And, you know, if you could have a sweat. Alvin Kamara in the 4th round, casual season. We're out here. I'm Josh Jacobs over Kenneth Walker, but they're very, very close to me, Tony. Claypool doesn't need to be traded anywhere. He was released from the Bills with an injury settlement, so he is able to sign anywhere. Yes. Diami Brown is in this range of players. You know, and you pull him up because of stacks. Okay. Let's so running backs are flying off the board in these drafts. Whatever. Hurts, nice ADP value here. I like elite tight end to just like be on the winning teams though. I like the elite wideouts. All right. We're going Hurts. Hurts gives such a stable floor. He was on all the winning teams 2 years ago as a 6th round pick, 4th round pick, a little bit different, but not too different. I'm not going to have him stacked unless I get Goddard late or Jahan Dotson. But I was going to go T. Higgins, but week 12 bye, and I already have 2 week 12 buys. Not my favorite. Kincaid and McBride are my favorite 2 tight ends. I think James Cook is a good pick too. Let's go Kincaid. Let's run the week 12 gauntlet. Why do I like Kincaid a slightly more than McBride is due to the fact that there's more vacated targets in Buffalo. I think the Bills should throw for more yards and touchdowns than the Cardinals. And I think Marvin Harris Jr. is a way bigger target hog that McBride is competing with than anything in Buffalo. So Kincaid can be the number one target in Buffalo. I think McBride's ceiling is the 1B. And he's more likely just to be the pure 2. And we're drafting for this year, not past year. Do you like to stack in drafters also? I do. All else equal, I like to stack because, again, we're trying to hit nutted weekly upside, and stacking makes that easier. But occasionally we'll build some teams like this with Jalen Hurts, or, if Matt Stafford falls 30 picks past ADP, we can have him unstacked. Insane thumbnail. Appreciate you, Nick. That was decent. Is it horribly wrong to not have one London? Can't pull the switch where he normally falls to? I wouldn't say it's horrible. It's not my preferred way to play second round players. I have a fade on London largely, but I do have some because I see the thesis of the play. It's not like there's any screaming players that are sticking out there to me. And for playoff pod contests, I love the fact that Drake London gets to play probably the worst defense in football, the Washington Commanders. So nothing is wrong. It's just a high variance strategy where when Drake London is who you need to win, you will lose. And when he's a bust, you have a better chance of winning. Warren, Chase Brown, Javonte. But I don't know if you're asking best ball questions or managed, because it's a little bit different there. In managed, I think in managed, Chase Brown can go ahead of Warren because what we're trying to hit is upside. And if Chase Brown is a 100% snap rate player, which he could be, and Warren cannot unless an injury occurs to Najee, he's a better fit for upside. Chase Brown's probably not that good, but he's explosive, and you don't got to be that good if you're seeing the field. Welcome, my Canada audience. Doug Ford, I'm assuming, is a governor or something. Chase Brown isn't small. Chase Brown is not 180. He's 210. So, by the way, the Khalil Shakir ADP, egregious pick at 68, obviously, but his ADP on drafters is 20 picks ahead of his underdog ADP, which is probably just wrong by underdog. Yeah, come on down, Rachaad White. If I can get White and Mixon, we're doing it. Are they the most exciting running backs in the world? No. Do I think they can catch passes and potentially be snap dominant on their team? Yes, and that's all I need them to be. And it's a great cost to be playing. I don't need Rachaad White to be a league winner. I need him to be roughly what he was last year. A bunch of games above 15 PPR points. That's what he was. Christian Watson fits the bill as a potential league winner to me. Also fits the bill of a guy who could be on winning teams because he has the capability of having 30-point games plus in fantasy. And if he does that 3 times over the course of the season, maybe 4, he'll probably be on the winning team. Yeah, I mean, look, could White be a league winner? Yes, but he is an athletic guy. He's fast. It's not as likely as, say, Josh Jacobs, who's on a better team, you know? But I like most people who draft don't like Rashad White. I draft him still, especially when he falls a full round, because plug your ears, Pacheco drafters, but he's really not that different from Isaiah Pacheco. And Isaiah Pacheco is drawing very live to bust if the Chiefs continue a heavy pass rate by the goal line. You know, like that's just in the range. Does Sean Tucker have a shot? Sean Tucker definitely has a shot. Like, we probably would have seen something from him if there was anything there. And it does seem like Bucky Irving is ahead of him. But, you know, he has a shot. I would not say that Dotson is taking targets. I I think AJ Brown could be the number one wide receiver in fantasy football this year. I think that's the case from every year. However, this year they have um I'm blanking on his name. I've said it many times this stream. The new OC, Kellen Moore. And if they use AJ Brown, if they give him some like layup routes in the slot, and he's capable of scoring on any of them, the sky's the limit on this guy. How much Henry do you have? Very, very, very little. I do have some teams in total point formats, but I don't have much. He's old. I see the thesis of the play, but, most people feel better about him than me. I don't think this is true at all. I think a lot of people are big on Dynasty. I think you want Dynasty content from me. I don't play Dynasty. It's not hard. There's just no money in it. I don't like going AJ Brown and Saquon. It's okay to do. But yeah, I would have gone AJ Brown and Gibbs. Wow. I mean, ridiculous ADP value on Jordan Addison. Lad McConkey here. Has a different bye week than week 12. Gives me a quarterback to stack with. So yeah, he's going to be our pick there. Trey Palmer thoughts? He is probably behind Jalen McMillan and not a guy I would draft a lot. He's okay to mix in on Baker Mayfield stacks. Possibly he has outs to, an in-season trade to like Chris Godwin. He obviously has injury upside, but yeah, I wouldn't be drafting a lot of him. I don't play a lot of poker. I just play some tournaments here or there. Okay, we could go a lot of different ways here. I can obviously take Dak and be done. It's a little bit more than I like to spend at QB, especially in a total point format, but I have so many Chase Brown teams with cheaper ADP. Let's just do it. Let's do Dak. Let's call it a day at QB. Probably not the best to pass on running back there, but we're going to be taking a lot of running backs the rest of the way. Concerned with the Jaguars offense being held back by their O-line matters more than people think. I'm definitely a little concerned, Charlie, but like I just know the Jaguars haven't hit their ceiling, and if they can get that together, they can produce. And like CJ Stroud produced last year and his O-line was woeful, you know? So, I don't wanna hear that excuse for the Jags. Like literally 3 Texan starters were hurt starting, like, week 2 or something. I don't know. I probably should not have done this Dak pick or not done the Hurts pick just because with Ladd, I have Justin Herbert late. Jordan Love was still on the board, but unlikely. Kirk Cousins was still on the board, but whatever. We got an NFC East thing going here. We're hoping to dominate the quarterback play. I'm not afraid of Bigsby eating into ETN's workload. I think ETN should naturally play a little bit less than he did last year. But that is every running back in the league. That's not like a reason not to draft ETN. And shout out to the woman viewers of the channel. You are the 1% on this channel. Do you watch a lot of college football? I do not. I am so ingrained in the NFL that I don't have time for it. Would I maybe have better NFL takes if I did? Maybe, but I also would maybe be more biased against players. I think that happens to a lot of people that watch college football. They either are biased or reverse biased against players. You think Goddard's really hurt? I don't know. Like, I know he got banged up. I haven't seen there's a bunch of quasi injuries we don't have full info on yet. DJ Chark would be one too. Oblique strain. I don't know. I'm not moving him until we get more. Oh, and managed, TJ Hawkinson's a good pick to throw in IR. Definitely. The news, I don't like taking him in other formats, but in managed where you don't need to play him, yeah, he's a great pick. Joseph, you're talking about bbmd.com, and I don't know if Patrick's doing that for this year, but you need to wait until the season starts because Underdog releases the data and then he built that site. Your oblique is part of your abs on your side. Happy to help. Taysom is a tight end on drafters. I'm showing the tight end tab just so that people watching this stream that are drafting with me can't see my rankings. And the tight end one is the one I guess I should show the quarterback tab. This is how I have the quarterbacks ranked. So I don't need quarterback on my team. Any timetable on Hawkinson? November, maybe. How dead are my Johnny Wilson bags? I wouldn't say they're confirmed dead. They were always thin. Wow. I mean, two steals, in my opinion. We're going to go Brooks instead of Addison because my team needs running back production. And, if all Brooks does is miss 2 to 3 weeks and then he's full go by week 5 or 6, could totally be on a total points winner. Just too cheap. He's too cheap to be there's no reason for him to be going behind, Devin Singletary. I know we're not thrilled about either offense, but Brooks is far more likely to score touchdowns than Singletary. Yeah, Wilson could still pay off with a random touchdown. Exactly. And that was always the thesis with him, in my opinion. All right, we're going to take Rico Dowdle. He's a player who I have a lot of exposure at cheaper prices, but my team needs running backs. I think he's a better bet than Zeke. I need running back points starting week 1. And I have Dak, so I add to the stack there. He gets games against Hurts as well. So pretty good team so far. Hurts and Prescott, Rashad White, Jonathan Brooks, Rico Dowdle, CD Lamb, Drake London, Chris Olave, Christian Watson, Lad McConkey, Dalton Kincaid. Why am I so low on Singletary? I'm not low on, here's the thing with Singletary. He's very unlikely to be a league winner. Can he be a guy to give you 10 PPR points each week? Sure. Is he likely to score touchdowns? No. Is he explosive? No. Is it possible Tyrone Tracy plays more than you want? Yes, that's possible. Tyrone Tracy, is he more athletic than Singletary? Yes. Singletary is incapable of taking a ball at the 20-yard line, his own 20, and running 80 yards. He cannot do that. He's not fast enough. The team's also probably shit. You know? So he's like, would I have taken him after would I have taken him instead of Dowdle? Probably, just playing ADP there. You know? He catches passes too. But yeah, just unlikely to be a league winner, not on a good team, not explosive. You're just hoping for volume. True Serum Dotson is a star. Jeez, dude, you gotta change your name here. Dotson, you gotta change your name, Ball is life. I mean, I draft some Singletary. I'm trying to build the number 1 highest scoring team on drafters. That is the goal. I also don't love Singletary in playoff pods either. Singletary going for 1,210, extremely unlikely. Not even in his range of outcomes. On the Texans, a much better team, he had a 20-point game. He had 2 20-point games against 2 terrible defenses last year. This was without Joe Burrow, I believe. Arizona was literally one of the worst in the league. He had a 21-point game against Tennessee. So 2 games above 20 points all season on a better team. Wasn't the starter until week 10. But yeah, I don't know. Jay Lizard brings up a good point here. Remember, Dotson was the heart of Penn State, and now returns to the state. He is a demigod. And Herbert's here, so whatever on the quarterback picks by us. Kind of the last of the wide receivers to want to. We need running backs. Let's get a Jalen Wright team here. I got a lot of Jalen Wright. Why not add to it? Not great that Brooks and Wright probably won't see the field week 1. But hopefully Rashad White can fill in to start the year. And I'm getting elite wideout production and quarterback production and tight end production. Yeah, I think Dotson should be a 18th to 20th round pick and not someone I draft at a high clip. Singletary with Dable, yeah, okay, that's a positive for him that Dable brought him back. But again, it's not a good bet in my opinion. I don't know. The wideouts make sense. Ray Davis makes sense. Jaleel makes sense. Let's go Ray Davis again. Ray Davis actually could give me some week 1 production. It's not likely, but he could. So I think Jerome Ford's a great pick. Have you been watching Mac Hollins' home maintenance videos on TikTok? Very helpful. Bailey, I think I saw someone post one on Twitter, and I think that's like Mac Hollins just seems like a cool dude. He, for anyone who's like, how do I do this? How do I do this? Like his video was like, here's my water softener and yada yada. So check that out. I don't have TikTok, but I need to get up and running there for fantasy. But definitely check that out if you have the TikTok. Michael, I would highly recommend you check out my free article if you sign up for beatbestball.com. But you asked, can you talk about drafting on drafters total points early versus late in draft season? Like other contests, you should be drafting some players that are not drafted earlier in the year. You should be scooping some fallers probably. You should be cognizant that if you're going to take a riser, such as Rashee Rice, that you build in some fallers. You should hope that you're drafting with absolutely casuals who don't know more than 5 running back names in the league. In total points format, wouldn't you want to avoid guys that don't have projectable volume right away? I wouldn't say avoid, but you want a mix of guys. Like, do I want no one who's playing week 1? No, of course not. I want some week 1 production. It's equally weighted. But, in Jalen Wright's case, if Jalen Wright scores 50 points in a game this season, I don't care if he sees the field week 1 at all, So upside still is my number 1 priority. Do you do best ball for other sports? Ooh, Jacob. I got 3rd in PGA best ball. I don't know anything about golf, but golf is more of a sport you can just play with game theory. And so, yeah, I do that. What do you do yourself? I mean, NFL is a full year thing. All right, guys, I need more water. Should be back for this next pick. Actually, I'll just wait, make these 2 picks, and then go get it. Because I'm signed out of my drafters app here. How do you feel on Jacoby Myers? I like him. If Brock Bowers isn't a thing, he should be a smash again. Got you guys. Got you guys. Hell yeah, man. I don't play Dynasty, but trade 3 late seconds for Worthy. Can you purchase my redraft rankings only? No, you can't. It's all part of the package. Maybe I can add that in the future. Polk definitely has upside, but top 32, I don't know. Yeah, Josh Downs, too much of an ADP value there. I'm just drafting all the injured players. Some of them probably won't work out. Some of them will. But, Josh Downs has no business going behind Demario Douglas. Jalen Tolbert on a DAC team, it's a little bit of a bummer not to get him. But I think I prefer Downs above him anyways. Probably prudent to take a tight end right now. And let's go with Likely. I think Conklin Likely, both upside swings. Likely just a tad more, though. Be right back. All right. Sam Darnold is a pick I like better in total points, where wasn't drafted the whole season. Now my cat wants to come in. Be right back. Come on. Cat's going senile and didn't realize I let him in. Tolbert's not a guy I drafted a lot to begin the year, but you know, if you've seen some of my streams with like Pete or whatnot, you can tell I'm pretty into him now. Can you see the cat? Oh, we show cat on this channel. Puma, you want to look at the camera? Doesn't seem interested. Don't go on the keyboard now. This is Puma. Would you add a third tight end if you had Kincaid, Conklin, and total points? In general, I want to be building 3 tight end. Kincaid and like Conklin share the same buy, but I'm not always doing it. I could tell that cat had 15% Dotson. Not happy. If you want to see some funniness, people are coping hard on Dotson in my thing. All right. Marshawn Lloyd, like, we get a bet against AJ Dillon. We get a bet against old man Josh Jacobs. Like, we're just taking him on the way down. Is he possibly a 0? Sure. But he was a 3rd round pick, whatever. We hope he's not Kendre Miller. Why not? Ben Sinnott, I think, really fits this team in the idea that we have Hurts and Prescott who play in the NFC East. So does Sinnott, who plays in the NFC East. So we're getting game stacked against them. Even if Sinnott's a 0 all year, Kincaid and Likely could be enough by themselves. Lamb, London, Olave, Watson, McConkey, Downs makes for a serviceable group of 6, potentially a really good starting 3. Not the best running back room, but we got some high upside darts layered in there. And we got 3 more picks to play with, which we are done at quarterback and tight end. We'll be putting those in wide out and running back. Sin it. Whatever. No, chicken. Rewind the stream. Wide receiver 3 on the Birds is not better than wide receiver 2 on the Commanders. Just not. Is this true? Gabe Davis is living in Trevor's basement? Congrats, Who Hames. Got your red badge. Again, guys, if you want to chase overlay on drafters, try to win the 500K, use promo code Cheslium. Get a deposit match. And please, like the video, subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and join my Discord linked below. Basements aren't illegal in Florida. They're just not a good idea because of hurricanes and flooding and etc. Rise up. You think they placed in Hollywood on IR? No, I don't think they'd do that. I think they would give themselves the possibility he returns from IR. Ominous Schefter tweets? Oh, that's with Tolbert. I kind of love this team and kind of hate it. I love the uniqueness of Lamb, London, Olave. I love the upside of Watson. I love the ADP value on McConkey. I like the upside on Kincaid, likely Sinat. I like the upside of my quarterbacks. I like the upside of White and Brooks. I'm concerned for my running back depth. We have a 2-6-6-3. We're taking one more wide receiver at minimum. The question is, are we building a 2-7-8-3 or a 2-8-7-3? And in this case, I think we're going to build a 2-8-7-3. I think we're going to double up running back. Pray we get some guys to hit our week 1 lineup. And then just depend on the consistency of Lamb, London, and Olave, a trio that, should be around 25% target share in their own offenses, and hope that we get enough weeks from the rest of the crew. Trevor, the meatloaf. Gabe Davis. Hold up, Puma. Let's make some picks here. Sure. Or sure. Jordan Whittington, 7th and final wide receiver. Would I prefer my 7th wide receiver be a guy who I know is going to play football this year? Yeah, I would. So could Jordan Whittington be a pure 0? Yes, he could. Could he be a smash though? Absolutely. No, dude, it's never Alec Pierce season. And then Roshan is, honestly, we're looking for week 1 production. I think Roshan should have some fantasy points week 1, assuming he can get over this minor injury. Puma's so well behaved. He just sits at the door and waits. So, okay. Hurts, Prescott, White, Brooks, Dowdle, Wright, Davis, Lloyd, Roshan, Lamb, Olave, London, Watson, McConkey, Downs, Whittington, Kincaid, likely Sanat. I think the normal thing to do here is to take another wide receiver. But I don't know. Week 1 points in this running back room is like Rachaad White, yes. Rico Dowdle, yes. Ray Davis, maybe. Roshan Johnson, maybe. Referring to Alec Pierce. Yeah, I mean, I think too, like, you can tell we're in peak season here because we've gotten the following reports, which are just like, come on, guys, this isn't happening. The first report we got was Gabe Davis is working over the middle of the field. He won't be just a deep A-dot guy. If Gabe Davis could do that consistently, which he did have some games like this in Buffalo, we probably would have seen it. The second thing we saw was today, someone was like, Alec Pierce, you know, he's their best downfield wide receiver, and he also has done some middle of the field work. And it's like, dude, if Alec Pierce could be a consistent guy winning over the middle of the field, we would have saw that. I don't see why we would comp Jaden Reed to Chase Claypool and Dotson. He was good. Yeah, I think Adonai Mitchell could be legitimately good, right? So thoughts on Broncos offense? Knicks. Yep, he's the quarterback. Tim Patrick. Oh, redraft. In redraft, we don't want anything to do with the Broncos, Zach, other than like some their running backs. In redraft, you can take Javante, you can take Jaleel. I wouldn't take Cortland Sutton at his cost. I wouldn't take Tim Patrick. I wouldn't take Josh Reynolds. I would maybe take Greg Dulcich as like a late round dart. But yeah, you like in best ball, I like these guys, but in managed, no. 8-team league, you should definitely prioritize quarterback and tight end and just hope to beat everyone else. Because you're going to get so much depth at every position, but you can't find that at tight end and quarterback always. Honestly, I've not read a lot of game theory book sources, Owen. I would just Google this. Like I don't remember off the top of my head things that are like come to mind. Carson Steele, sure. Maybe he's giving me fantasy points week 1. Barely drafted, could be RB2 of the Chiefs. Hurts and Prescott, Rashad White, Jonathan Brooks, Rico Dowdle, Jalen Wright, Ray Davis, Marshawn Lloyd, Roshan Johnson, Carson Steele. Not impossible that Johnson is still the Bears RB2, by the way. Doesn't seem likely, but it's possible. CeeDee Lamb, Drake London, Chris Olave, super unique trio. Christian Watson, Lad McConkey, around passes ADP. Nice. Josh Downs around passes ADP. Nice. Jordan Whittington. Kincaid, likely Sinnott. So QB, check. Tight end, check. Wide receiver, a little thin, but probably check with these 5 at least, and then we'll see what Downs' health will be and if Whittington's contributing this year. Running back, give that one more of a question mark, but a hopeful check. So, are Alec and Damian brothers? JJJ, let's pull that up for you, brother. And I want you to tell me what you think. This is Alec Pierce. Okay? This is Alec Pierce. Keep that in mind. This is Damian Pierce. Alec? Damian. Alec? Damian. Of course they're brothers. Are you fucking stupid? They look like twins. Subscribe. Check out beatbestball.com, especially if you play on DraftKings. Dropped a new article today. Have a great day. Appreciate you guys. Bye.